अगली कड़ी में यूपी यूनिवर्सिटी कॉलेज ऑफ मेडिकल साइंसेज के वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर राजकुमार आपसे मुखातिब होंगे। And sir is the head of the Department of Neurosurgery at the SCPGI Lucknow. He is the founder director of the AIIMS Rishikesh Uttarakhand. Sir has published 476 papers, and there is a long series produced about the Professor Rajkumar, and he has operated more than 10,000 complicated cases. And even today, in his OT, there is a patient waiting for the surgery. And so he said, "Ki just put me in some prior to the schedule." And certainly, sir, we welcome you. And before that, we wish to say that you are a neurosurgeon, but the way you are servicing the COVID patient into the Medical University Hospital of the Sefai with the Ayurveda, certainly it's really very appreciable. And we are eager to hear from your end that how you conceptualize this idea that the COVID patients of your university may be treated with the Ayurvedic interventions. Sir, Professor Rajkumar, sir, please.
Well, good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
At the outset, I would thanks to Professor Anand Chaudhary and Professor Yasan Singh in particular, who gave me this opportunity to interact with you all. I have my utter respect to all the dignitaries present here, including Acharya Balakrishna ji, Professor S.K. Singh Sahab, who is virologist, Professor Jaydevan ji, and Professor Dhiman Sahab, who is Director General, and Professor V.K. Shukla ji. And my feeling goes to entire team of BHU who took this initiative to organize such a wonderful discussion, which was the need of hour. Well, without wasting much time, I will be too brief because my mind is going towards the surgery which has been placed and it was overdue. It is a big meningioma, large tumor placed in operation theatre. The patient has come from Kanpur and waiting for last 2 weeks. Because of the non-operating air conditioner, we could not operate major cases. So today we have placed one. Welcome to the COVID now. I think before talking to COVID, we must know as to against whom this war is waged today. So what I did actually, being a medical scientist, I tried to understand the disease from very beginning. I started working in covering patients, and I conceptualized initially that I will have to patients. I will have to have patients in my hospital if I want to conduct some study. So what I did, I planned myself and I made a COVID hospital, which is special to probably this nation. It is 200-bedded COVID hospital, which has COVID lab, COVID radiology, COVID laundry, COVID dialysis, COVID operation theater, COVID ICU, COVID labor room, COVID gates, COVID mortuary. So this is how we planned, and of course, you know that if you conceptualize 200-bedded of COVID hospital, then you need to at least develop 500, 600 quarantine too for health workers. So this is how I planned. I started working on it, and I knew it very well that if I try to develop some antiviral medicine today, then it may take 2 years and it will not be feasible to do also. So what I did, are you able to listen to me? Can you listen me?
Yes, we are able to listen you. Continue.
I am connected to one.
Okay. Yeah, you are connected.
Okay. So what I did, I made a thorough study on COVID. Like a resident, I tried to study COVID. I should use the term I formulated a very good team of nearly 42 faculty members and academicians and administrators, and I started working on this aspect. Let me tell you at outset, in order to study COVID properly, at least we have submitted nearly 22 manuscripts for publication, and out of which nearly 12 have been either accepted or published about the COVID. So by this, I came to know that this coronavirus is the seventh generation of corona family. And we tried to understand, as Dr. Chaudhary probably said in initiation, that there were many confusions. You are very right. There had been many confusions about the virus, about this generation of virus. But as much as the knowledge kept on growing, I kept on reading every day, every time, whatever was available in literature. Having gone through the mortality, death rates, comorbidities, age effects, community effects, different factors, along with that, I tried to study the virus. I will briefly touch the COVID. You know, the COVID-19 is a virus which belongs to the corona family, and we need to understand it at very beginning that coronavirus family is a very big family where most of the viruses of this family are phenotypically and genotypically. We need to understand it. Phenotypically and genotypically, they are heterogeneous. They don't match with each other. And this is the COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, what is called as, is the most advanced strain of corona family. It's the most fastidious, most contagious, having high shedding rate. And today we know, because it has not given up to the temperature and humidity, we don't know, though it is not written anywhere. But I can proclaim it today that it is probably one of the most stable RNA virus of corona family today, because it did not yield to either temperature or humidity or pH or different factors. And of course, we need to know that there are 4 or 5 genes. It is a single stranded RNA, nothing more than that. It has an envelope gene, it has a membranous gene, it has a nucleocapsid, and most important of all, a protein which is called as spike protein. This is like spicules in a crown. Why it is called as corona? Because it is a crown-shaped structure, and these spikes are projecting all over the crown. And these spikes are very important scientifically because they combine with angiotensin ACE2 receptors in body. Now we need to understand as to where are these receptors common in the body. We came to know that the most susceptible area and the abundance of receptors is found in respiratory system, in throat, in lung mucosa, followed by, of course, GI, blood, kidney, and other systems also. At least we came to know that this is the ACE2 receptor, which is the most dangerous receptor, probably through which by endocytosis, I am talking little science because you all are scientists, so I would like to touch little science, not very complicated science, but in a very simplistic language, that we came to know that this is the receptors, wherever it is present in abundance, it is going to bind the virus, spicule protein, and that is how it is going to multiply in our different systems. Having gone through the thorough studies, we identified, we will come to the point gradually, we identified that there are 4 or 5 systems. Can you make me out? Because in between it keeps revolving, it starts revolving, so I get an impression that you are not with me. Are you with me?
Yeah, we are. We are
Okay.
listening you, sir.
So, by thorough studies and by our experience, you know, by now we have admitted 240 patients of corona, and 21 patients have been discharged till date. 50-60 patients are admitted, 55 or so are still admitted, and there had been few fatalities, not because of corona, but because of systemic diseases more than anything else. So I identified, having gone through writing different manuscripts, doing science on corona, whatever literature was available, whatever material, patient material was available to us, I made a thorough study and I jot down 5-6 points. Number 1, where this virus attacks. We know that this virus attacks upper respiratory tract more vehemently in comparison to any other system, followed by the lower respiratory system, that means the lungs, alveoli, alveolar tree, that is the most affected system. Then it affects the blood because it causes viremia, septicemia, shock, multi-organ failure and death. So second target was the blood. It was the blood which helps in replication, basic replication rate. This virus has basic replication rate. We have been trying to reduce it, but we could not reduce it. That is why it spread out. The shedding rate and replication rates, these were the two factors which made this virus and fatality and community transmission. So we could know that it was the respiratory system, it was the blood, it was the immune system which was attacked by this virus, followed by, of course, the GI system, followed by renal system. These were systems which were at the stake, which were at the risk. So taking cognizance of these factors, we try to think about as to what should be done. We know by the facts of the modern science today that if we go by the modern science, if you want to produce the antiviral drugs, then it would be difficult. In a short span of time, you cannot produce an antiviral because whatever antiviral drugs in modern science are available, they are not readily effective. Not all viruses can be killed. We know the chronic hepatitis B, colitis. We know so many other viral conditions where once the epidemic occurs, it results into so many casualties. So what I thought, I started searching the medical literature because I have devoted my 28 years in allopathic science. Of course, I have optimal knowledge of Ayurveda because I have done PhD in Ayurveda. So by virtue of my medical knowledge and by virtue of my knowledge of Ayurveda, I kept searching the medicines which can be effective to protect these organs. So in nutshell, I wanted to protect the upper respiratory system. I wanted to protect lower respiratory system. I wanted to protect blood. I wanted to protect the receptor binding sites in different systems. And that is how I studied nearly 20 Ayurveda ancient medicine constituents which could have been effective in these systems. But because we need to develop a system which should be acceptable to the world. So what I did, I made a thorough study on each of these constituents wherever, on whatever aspect the studies have been done. So modern science found that these were 12 constituents where the modern study also has made some kind of studies, either on immunity, or on B cell, or on T cell, or on phagocytes, or on building immunity, or on protecting mucosa, or on decreasing effusion, or on decreasing swelling to the lungs, or as antibacterial effect, or as antiviral effect. So I made a thorough study and I zeroed down 11 constituents from Ayurveda where I thought that if these are combined together, they can be worked out to be effective. So I consulted my Guruji. I have a spiritual guru also, Ayurveda guru also, who has profound knowledge of Ayurveda. And I consulted him because it was difficult to convince him because there is no interface available today. There is nobody available who can teach us the Ayurveda principle, and nobody is such who can teach the Ayurveda people as to how these two can be married. This was the need of our. How can the modern science and ancient science can be married together to come out with something? So, my dear friends and seniors, what I did, I coined a new term because I had been practicing Ayurveda for nearly 5-6 years. And there have been dramatic results with the combination of allopathy and Ayurveda. I coined a new term that is called as Allopathic. So whatever I have formulated is Allopathic. It is not pure Ayurveda. Aloe I have taken from aloe, which means something which can rejuvenate the decaying thing. And Vedic I have taken from Ved. So this term has been coined. So many people question what is Allopathic, what is this? I said I have coined this term 5-6 years back, and I am still practicing it. So what I did, I took all the scientific principles of modern science, even the constituents which were chosen, the scientific studies have been made on those constituents. That is how I chose those 11 constituents for protecting our different systems, building up immunity, and of course, to prevent the toxemia and to stabilize the different systems. And I divided again them into under 4 categories. Number one, the drugs which were effective as immunomodulators and anti-inflammatory, because inflammation is the main phenomena. Throat also gets congested, in lung also exudations, congestion and consolidation occurs. Hemorrhages even in lungs occurs. Alveolar destruction occurs because of petechial hemorrhages occurs in lung. That is how it hampers the fusion perfusion of the lung. So I chose the medicines which could have been immunomodulator number one, and number two, which could have been anti-inflammatory. And I found the science behind them. That was the deep science. I don't want to discuss, otherwise you will get, it would be boring for you if I will talk the finer aspect of the science. Number two, I tried to search as to what medicines of ancient medicine, what ingredients could have helped as antiviral. We know today there is no antiviral effective antiviral available today for COVID-19. But there is a family to which the 70% of properties of this COVID-19 matches with its family. So I tried to choose few medicines from the literature which can kill the corona family. I did not know whether COVID can be killed or not. I did not know whether it could have been effective in COVID, but I knew that these ingredients were effective in H1N1. These were effective in, SARS coronavirus, and these were effective in dengue virus. So I chose few of these medicines in my preparation. Number third, I wanted to protect the upper respiratory tract. I chose two of the medicines which were effective in protecting the mucosa and breaking the mucus plugs. That means mucolytic drugs were taken. And the drugs were taken which could have inhibited the cough also. I am also coughing you. This is purely allergic, I know. So I chose two of the ingredients which were effective with this. Then I chose the drugs which were effective in preventing the consolidation of lung, in protecting the alveoli, in protecting the small blood vessels, in decreasing the blood coagulation, because DIC is one phenomena known for coronavirus. So I chose the medicine which can keep the blood diluted also simultaneously. So few ingredients were chosen like that. Then I chose few ingredients which could have been effective against bacteria also, virus also, and different kinds of the organism also. So few ingredients I chose like that. Then I chose few ingredients which could have been effective in detoxifying the blood, because viremia is the major killer. So we chose the medicines. Of course, this principle was taken purely from Ayurveda, but I chose the medicines which have proven role in medical science, in modern medical science. So I chose those medicines, and of course, with day and night discussions, we tried to come out with the formulation, with the powder, with highly purified manner, because I know there are few of the constituents which could kill the patients if they remain unpurified, impurified, partially purified, quasi-purified. You know, as a Ayurvedacharya better than me, in Ayurveda, if the preparations are not good and the proportions are not good, if they are not optimum, they can be even detrimental. If not today, maybe tomorrow. This is how we made a preparation. Now question came as to how to study in Corona. So this is very important point where I want to touch here. First, I prepared protocol in a scientific manner. I took the clearance of ethical committee, which was difficult during these days because no meetings were being held. I have made a Corona committee in my university because the Corona committee played a very pivotal role in these days because other committees could not meet because of lockdown. So Corona committee was constituted of nearly 42 members, academicians, scientists, etc., etc. So I empowered my Corona committee also. So I took clearance from Corona committee, I took clearance from ethical committee, I took clearance. Then I registered for ICMR, CTR registration, which is most important. And by virtue of Almighty God, I could get registered for clinical trial. Now, what I did not conduct this study blindly. This is very important point to be noted. You know that 80% of the corona patients, corona positive patients, they are cured without intervention if you just keep them in isolation, if you just try to give them nutritive diet. So I did not touch any of the patients who were corona positive but asymptomatic. So we were left with limited choice. So we could induct 40 such patients where the symptoms were present. And we divided into three categories. Number one, the patients with mild symptoms. Number two, the patient with moderate symptoms, where along with the symptoms of corona, there had been respiratory compromises. And then we chose the severe patient, where the oxygen concentration was below 90%. At room air, we chose up to 80%. So there had been patients, 3-4 patients, where oxygen saturation was 70% at room temperature. This is the point which must be noted actually by you all, that these were the really serious patients. Of course, what we did not include in our study, we did not include the patients who were pregnant or lactating, and pediatric population at this juncture I ruled out. I inducted patients above 18 years of age up to any age. And of course, what I did include then, I included all the comorbidities, whether the patient has diabetes or cancer or heart attack or whatever, because these were the main killers. So I included all these patients. Then I included, because the corona case above 60 more, so I included the age beyond 60 also along with younger population. So we made, following all these legal formalities, we did our study, pilot study in 40 cases. Let me tell you the results of these 40 patients. In these 40 patients, as per our protocol, 31 patients became symptomatically negative within 5 days, and on RT-PCR also they became negative. 31 patients became negative in 5 days. Now there were 9 other patients. In 9 patients, 5 of the patients became negative symptomatically by maximum by 7 or 8 days, and they became negative on PCR by 10th day. Now 4 patients were left. They became negative symptomatically within a week, and the RT-PCR became negative 8th day. This was as per our protocol. Probably if you would have repeated RT-PCR more early, they would have become probably more early negative. But at this stage, we can claim only this. And let me tell you, out of these 40 patients, 10 of the patients had either diabetes in 5, or one was the lung cancer, mind it was a lung cancer. And another 2 patients were of heart failure, mild myocardial angina or infarction. So we had comorbidities also, and we have 8 patients above 60 years of.
Sir, please come.
So you can see here that we have included comorbidities, we have included severe patients, we have included the patients above 60 years of age also. One of the lady was 80 who was also discharged asymptomatic following due treatment. So this is how we tried our treatment, and this was 125 milligram of the tablet, and this tablet was given twice a day. Of course, the Quath was also Raj Nirmal Quath. It has also been published in International Journal of Medical Science and Current Research. You can go through it. So the the beauty of this that the quath was also 100 ml of quath was given twice a day also in all patients, irrespective of whether they were symptomatic or asymptomatic. Now came to prove the science because science needs documentation. There is no science which can be done without documentation. I know that once I am doing Ayurveda, you are my friend may make a joke that some of my seniors said कि ये देखो काढ़ा पिला रहे हैं neurosurgeon. I said let them talk like this. It does not matter to me. And I have written few papers in ancient science. That would be the discussion at later part sometime, some other time. So what I did, because publications were difficult at this time, so I sent to scientific journals. Today, my dear friends, one of the paper of RNB is published in International Journal of Medical Science and Current Research. Another is accepted and due for publication within 3-4 days in International Journal of Science and Research Methodology. Another quath is published in International Journal of Science, Medical Science, and one another manuscript is ready. One manuscript has been sent to ICMR journal, a very reputed journal, which is under the process of review. So, am I exceeding time?
Yes, sir. Please conclude. Others are waiting. This is very interesting, sir. We will hear you. But now, at the moment, we request
So,
conclusion.
okay, once you have reminded me, thank you very much. I am stopping it at this juncture because I am a voracious speaker. Once I start speaking, people need to remind me about the time. I forget. I am sorry, Professor Chaudhary. And I think I have given enough of information, and it has been patented also. Patent has been filed. So this is how we proceeded. Of course, one thing I want to add that my randomized controlled trial is also registered and it is being done. 25 patients have been inducted. We are waiting for 60 patients. So level 4 clinical trial has been done. And on evidence medicine, the first level trial is going on. This is about the scientific, and everything is very well documented. There is no glitch anywhere. And I have written it to ministry also. I am waiting for their note. I have yesterday submitted to Home Ministry also, Government of India. And of course, the best of the thing that none of my health worker out of 300 more is infected, in contrary to any other medical institute where nearly 30-40% of health workers are infected. So this is what I achieved. Thank you very much for tolerating me for these many minutes. And thank you all for patience hearing. I would leave this here because I am to go for operation theatre. Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. Thank you all.
We are thankful to you for giving us this time when the patient is on the OT for the operation of the
वो
meningeal.
पेशेंट का फोन आया था फिर में
We wish all the best and thank you, sir.
रिजॉल्व